We all know the problem of drugs in the United States of America, and the biggest one is fentanyl, the opioid drug that's sort of like the homeless people would use, and it's reported quite commonly. And this basically does come from China, and it gets shipped to Mexico, and basically in the end it crosses the border into Texas or the southern states that's border Mexico. And this is all documented by the DEA. Now, let's have a look at what happens. Please note, this is from the DEA. The fentanyls in powder form, as well as unregistered pills, presses, stamps, dyes, are shipped via mail services. The powder fentanyls are processed and mixed with heroin, sold as heroin, or pressed into pills and sold in Canada in the drug market. Some fentanyl products are smuggled from Canada into the United States for sale on a smaller scale. The powder fentanyls is processed and mixed with heroin, sold as heroin to be pressed as pills into the United States drug market. The powdered fentanyls are cut and diluted for further smuggling into counterfeit prescription pills. Precursors for manufacturing fentanyls are shipped via mail services. Precursors are used to clandestine manufacture fentanyls. Precursors are likely smuggled across the southwest border into Mexico to manufacture fentanyls. Now, I'm not too sure about the actual drug itself, and is it used, and you can leave a comment in the section below, is it used in legitimate drugs in tiny amounts? Is it used for that, for some kind of like, I don't know, something that relieves pain, for example, mixed in with other legal drugs? I've heard that there is, and that is the legal drug that uses a little bit, a tiny bit, a minute bit of fentanyl. But I want to introduce you to this guy. This is a guy in China called Jerry, and he does a lot of propaganda in a very kind of like condescending voice that he is the wisdom of all God. I have messaged him before and he's called me an idiot, stupid, and a buffoon, but he sort of like says, I'm very wise with all knowledge. Take a look at this first clip.
It all comes from China and Mexico, but does it?
So definitely this is trolling, but I apologize, but I do get sick and tired of these white CCP shills who come into China, maybe because they got nowhere to go, whatever, and they just get paid to do this absolute BS, which is really frustrating. And if you respond to them in a two-sided way, they will just blank you shut, period. So he's saying, does it really? Does fentanyl come from China? So he's sort of like denying this, and this is like the government of China telling him to do this. But this information that I am sending you comes from the DEA. This is unclassified information that you can easily get now just on the website, just like I did. Let's continue to see what this wonderful person has to say.
Denied that China was the main source of fentanyl or its precursors.
Then I dug a little bit deeper and I found this article. Let me read it for you. Effective May 1, 2019, China officially controlled all forms of fentanyl as a class of drugs. This fulfilled the commitment that President Xi Jinping made during the G20 summit. The implementation of the new measure includes investigations known as fentanyl manufacturing, stricter control, internet sites advertising fentanyl, stricter enforcement, shipping regulation, and the creation of special teams to investigate leads of fentanyl trafficking, etc., etc., etc. It's quite a big statement, but how come the fentanyl has gone up in the United States of America and so many people are doing overdoses and so many people, unfortunately, are losing their lives? Let's continue with the leader of the fentanyl drug campaign in China.
citing the fact that the US had, as they often do, made these allegations with absolutely no supporting evidence.
With no supporting evidence. Well, I've just shown you there the actual supporting evidence from your dictator friend, Xi Jinping. And this is from all the evidence from the DEA. The DEA, what do we have? Intelligence report. And you can just type in on Google quite simply that 90% of the fentanyl in the United States does come from China. It goes to Canada or it goes to Mexico. Sometimes it's mixed in as heroin. Nowadays it's just sent in a pill form or a powder form, and it's people getting a high from it. So Mr. Jerry's take on China, oh, I'm gonna be impolite and I apologize, maybe this is bullying. You're just an awful, awful man.
Those biases. The allegation that China is the source of either fentanyl or the precursor chemicals is an example of this. And
you can see how condescending it is. Do not believe these guys from China, these white guys who come over and they do all this propaganda on Western media. The strange thing is we, you could say from the West, are not allowed to do, you could say, propaganda on their social media, so why should they do it with us? Anyhow, that's another story entirely. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. It's something that made me a bit frustrated that we all know there is a drug problem in America related to fentanyl. There's lots of people overdosing. It's a horrible, horrible thing, granted. But to deny that it comes from China when the evidence is so clear and so transparent, and you, Mr. Jerry, get paid a bucket load of money to deny it in a very condescending way. I think my rant and rave is over. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye for now. Cheers.